This is the College Football Connection Podcast with Alvin Reed, Bradford Bruns, and Marty Jenkins on 101 ESPN.
Execution Week operating full bore for Old Mizzou. How's it going, everybody? Bradford Bruns back with you. It is the brand new installment of the College Football Connection. We're live in studio in Creve Coeur, and you are tuned in to 101 ESPN, the YouTube channel, plus 101ESPN.com. Hey, 2 weeks from tomorrow, that marks the regular season opener. Get set, get psyched, because in mid-Missouri, it's going to be Tigers, Central Arkansas, in that primetime Thursday night showcase. And yet, we still have a lot into which to delve and dig before we get to that point. It is the run-up. It is that aforementioned term, as used by the head coach himself, Eli Drinkwitz, over the course of last weekend, Execution Week. So while by no means you still don't have a number of different positional battles, the depth chart necessarily figured out, i.e. at quarterback, guys, that answer is still not coming right around the bend. The coaching staff here is going to take this process as far as it demands. So if you were looking for an answer, a definitive answer as to whether Bo Perbula or Sam Horn, for that matter, will be getting the lion's share of the reps against Central Arkansas in a couple of weeks, you're going to have to wait for just a tad bit longer, and the coaching staff seems to be just fine with as much. A couple of areas of concern over the course of the last week or so, though. Hey, they were two up-and-down scrimmages at Memorial Stadium. You had the session back last Monday, as well as the one followed up over the course of the weekend on Saturday. And Eli Drinkwitz was bemoaning specifically a lot of drops, honestly, from the receiver position. And even though you're set in terms of the slot in particular, in Kevin Coleman coming over and looking to at least replicate to some extent the production that was lost at that position and everywhere else at wide receiver, courtesy of Luther Burden, Theo Weiss Jr., you do have a few different areas where you would like to see more stability, right? You feel very comfortable about Marquise Johnson. He has been cited, he has been lauded throughout the course of fall camp for enhanced maturity, for enhanced leadership skills and attributes along those lines. And you're also very pleased with the Illinois State transfer, Lloyd. A bounty of freshmen, a gaggle of those individuals, and underclassmen slowly trying to acclimate themselves to the program as well. And that's going to take a little time. They will be fine. But again, Eli Drinkwitz doing his job, basically performing his due diligence over the span of the past few days as far as demanding accountability from just about everybody. You saw it at the running back position even early in camp with Marquise Davis, right? That heralded freshman talking about underclassmen who could make an immediate impact as soon as this season in the coming weeks, basically keeping everybody on their respective toes, okay? So at the same time, you would like to see if the quarterback situation, if that conundrum of sorts, for lack of a better term, if it isn't settled as of yet, you want to at least get a sense of the cohesion, the continuity along the offensive line, okay? Connor Tollison, he was always going to be working his way back from last season's late season-ending injury, that ailment, lower body in the Oklahoma game. You guys remember, you shuddered. It looked very bad at that time, and it has been a long road back in terms of the recovery as well. You're wondering also who is going to grab a stranglehold of the left tackle spot, okay? Is it going to be Johnny Williams? Is it going to be Javen Richardson? How does the Florida State transfer, the big boy, also factor into those proceedings? And we're still waiting on concrete, finite answers therein. A lot of love, though, rightfully going to the offense in spite of some of the topsy-turvy nature of what we have been told over the course of the past few days. But if there's one unit on this football team, honestly, guys, that is expected to carry the freight, particularly in the early portion of the schedule as you really ease into SEC play and then take South Carolina on head-on come September the 20th in Columbia, Missouri. Corey Batoon, fresh off of that welcome contract extension, his unit, and specifically up front. You understand, on death row defense, you had a couple of major departures. Johnny Walker Jr., Christian Williams, each of whom deservedly getting his respective individual shot and making it at the next level. Those guys were pillars from a leadership standpoint, and then the obvious physical measurables and production on the field. You have to love, though, what you saw in year one alone from somebody who not only came in and tried to basically echo the production of a Walker Jr., but asserting his presence, and loudly so, each and every day. But the play on the field, on the gridiron, it more than backed that up. I'm talking about none other than Zion Young. Hey, as a senior this year, the former Michigan State standout, I believe he far exceeded any and all expectations in 2024. The number is going to be circled for each and every opposing defensive coordinator in this league. And yet, by the same token, you think about a lot of the pieces surrounding Young, especially at the edge. Darius Smith, at this time a year ago, guys, I would contend that he was held in even higher esteem than a Young coming over from Big Ten country because he simply hadn't received the requisite opportunities and reps at the University of Georgia. Everything was cut short at that juncture because of the ACL tear. It was almost 1 year ago to the date, but he is coming back in a strong manner. He is joined by the likes somebody like a Hilson, a top 50 recruit. I'm not saying this freshman is going to factor into the equation immediately, but the absolute abundance of depth, so many toys with whom Batoon has to play, and that's to say nothing of the defensive tackle position as well, the interior. Last season, you were excited by some of the production that you saw in the first year at Mizzou from a Chris McClellan, but I thought this was a timely occasion to be able to revisit a recent conversation that I had with the young man, the Oklahoma native, in the beginning, because this is somebody last year, you look at the statistics on the page, they were solid. You started 9 of 13 games. You compiled 39 tackles, a lot of which went for losses. You got into the backfield on occasion too, especially in the second half of that schedule when the playing time ramped up, and you picked up 2.5 sacks. As far as the leadership goes, though, you're trying to show the way, right? Along with a Zion Young, you're trying to show the way and shepherd the progress of these younger guys, including a Damon Wilson II, also from Georgia. We hadn't even mentioned him in the past few minutes on the College Football Connection, but I was struck by the maturity and the dedication to craft as far as knowing if you're a McClellan, you have so many guys around you. There's no sense in trying to overextend yourself when you know the next guy in line, you're trying to win on that case of strength in numbers. So that's exactly what I discussed with Chris McClellan on site at Memorial Stadium not that long ago. Want to hear a little bit of that? Want to play it for you now on the CFC.
You get a lot of confidence and stuff whenever you know, like, it doesn't matter who's on the field, there's going to be no drop-off. We're going to have that consistency, that effort, that toughness, that ability to just go out there and make a play with no matter who's on the field. So that gives your defense and gives your team a lot of freedom to be able to, kind of do more stuff. So that's really exciting for me this year, like just having those guys around me that I know, like, it doesn't matter who's in the game, I'm going to be surrounded by great players and great athletes. So that's a really exciting aspect, and I'm ready to start practicing and start building off that, just so we can see everything that we're going to be capable of achieving this year.
After you completed your first season here last year at Mizzou and then going through the spring process anew, what did you find yourself? What was the number one thing that you were zeroing in on after having another year in the SEC here at Mizzou? The results, what did you take and what were you applying during the last few months?
Right, so for me, I feel like a big thing this year was leadership. I really was kind of hoisted into that leadership position and role, especially with we had guys like Johnny Walker, Christian Williams that were, our leaders for, I would say, the defensive line last year, kind of moving on to their NFL journeys. So I definitely was focused on that. Like, that was one of my main focuses this year, just to be the best player and to be the best leader I could be for this team.
We hear so much about the brotherhood and the STP mentality for this team, for the defense overall. You mentioned, obviously, Johnny, Christian, guys like that. Take us a little behind the scenes. What were some specific ways that they showed you, told you on a daily basis? How did they embody that and hand it down to the next generation?
Right, so for us, it's like, we really want to lead by example here. you have to live the same life that you preach on and off the field. And I feel like that's one thing that I've really tried to do this year is, I can't go out here and have a message for the guys around me and not be living that message myself. So I've always been really adamant on that. Like, hey, guys, let's get some extra work in. Let's be at the indoor Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning. We're going to do D-lines or we're going to work pass rush. We're going to do something to get better, get an edge on our opponents. So that's like one of the main things I took away with from Johnny and Christian, and like just those guys were just such good leaders for our team last year, and they were veteran players and they just kind of showed us the way and how to do stuff like that. So I really took that stuff away and kind of just brought it into my leadership approach. And also you just last year was my first year here, so you kind of I came in, I'm trying to see however I can help the team is how I want to help. I'm gonna keep my head down, I'm gonna work out, and I'm gonna just do my job. But this year, you get to know the guys, and I know I have a relationship with everybody in that locker room, so there's not one person I can't go in there and strike a conversation up with, ask how's your mom doing, how's your dad doing, brother, sister, doesn't matter who. So I feel like that's a big part of it as well, just going in and being able to support the guys, but also challenge them with that leadership, like, hey, oh, that's good that you're doing good, but you can do better, so let's just be the best we can be.
Hope you enjoyed the conversation with one of the elder statesmen now on Corey Batoon's defense. That was Chris McClellan. Also, a couple of days ago, an interaction that we were able to play on the College Football Connection with Mackey Award preseason finalist at the tight end spot, Brett Norfleet. Both of those combos, again, available. All you have to do is check out that series, that page on the website, 101ESPN.com, College Football Connection. Norfleet, McClellan, a host of others for Eli Drinkwitz, set to be in action this coming weekend, actually a couple of days from now in the Lou, or close, about 15 to 20 minutes away, St. Charles County, as Lindenwood University is going to be hosting a closed practice of sorts for Drinkwitz and the Tigers. This is not exactly surprising, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of weeks ago, in Atlanta, SEC Media Days, we first heard some of those waves about Drinkwitz wanting to do a better job in 2025 of simulating those road environments, the hostility that you inevitably encounter each and every week in and week out in the SEC on the road. Admittedly, this team was absolutely blindsided last year. You remember the occasion, going out to College Station, Kyle Field, Texas A&M. It was an ugly loss that followed and really set a trend for the next several weeks thereafter. The slip up at Alabama, really losses from which MU never truly recovered as far as trying to make a legitimate run at the college football playoff. So that Lindenwood closed practice, that is ahead. And then, as you can see on the board behind me, not that many practice sessions remaining for the fall stanza before you ramp it up for Central Arkansas on August the 28th. A couple of other notes as we wind it down for this edition of the CFC. We always appreciate your tuning in on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel and 101ESPN.com for that matter. Last weekend on Saturday, this wasn't exactly chronicled to a great extent, but MU making the release, announcing for the first time a position has been created, one to basically help out Eli Drinkwitz in a bit of an administrative capacity. Don't get it twisted, though. Don't get it confused. He himself made it very clear to the assembled reporters and media members, Mr. Verma is not going to be a general manager, but rather MU football. In this day and age, it almost seems like a prerequisite, right, guys? It's obligatory. Director of Football Strategy and Finance. So this individual coming over, he last worked in the NFL as a salary cap specialist. It's all about basically setting that bottom line, or many different bottom lines, and slotting in these guys accordingly with the NIL deals in the years to come. It is a fascinating evolution and development in the major D1 college game, but as more of those details become available, we will be certain to pass those along to you as well. Across the college football landscape, specifically in the SEC, we're waiting on exactly what the initial AP Top 25 poll will reveal. We do know that Mizzou slipping out of the initial top 25 with respect to the coaches, 2 spots removed. We'll see if that amounts to anything. You do have 9 different SEC squads already ranked for what it's worth, again, in the first set, the preliminary top 25, and in Baton Rouge. Definitely LSU generating a lot of noise and waves once again. That is always par for the course when you're talking about Brian Kelly's squad. But the quarterback spot itself, maybe a little bit of concern insofar as Garrett Nussmeier, last season's 5th most proficient passer in the entire nation, apparently dealing with quite a bit in the way of patellar tendinitis. It is not expected in any way, shape, or form, however, to jeopardize his status for week number 1. The Tigers, good luck opening as Kelly tries not to lose for a 4th consecutive year in an opener setting. Opening up this year against Garden Variety Clemson, which is expected to be that much more improved under Mr. Sweeney, Coach Sweeney, in 2025. So you've got LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, week number 1 alone. Yeah, sign me up. Yes, please. Bradford Bruns with you, closing down shop on this instance for the College Football Connection. We're going to be back in a few days again because we still have more SEC previews to be able to dive into. Alabama, LSU, those Tigers. That's right. We have not exactly been able to run the full gamut with respect to the league. We look forward to doing that and also reuniting with Alvin and Marty. You can check out all of their work thus far, preseason mode, there on the appropriate page on our website. But for now, so long, St. Louis. Thank you again for tuning in, and have a great remainder of your week. Talk soon.
Thanks for listening